You're listening to the Grit to Growth podcast. Real talk with real business owners and professionals who built their freedom the hard way and now want more time, money, and impact.
Welcome in, everyone. Today I got joining me is Robbie Veurink. He's the owner of many different businesses, so I'll let him kind of hit on the names of those and how they got started.
Yeah, I'm Robbie Veurink. I'm a licensed structural engineer in many different states around here, but owner of Midwest Engineering, Deep Foundation Group, and Block Tie Components.
Very cool. Well, Robbie, before we get into kind of what each of those businesses are, where did your journey kind of start and how did it lead up into those?
Yeah, so kind of grew up on a farm. Dad told me when I was a kid I had to go work with my older brother instead of eating ice cream staring at the TV. So we jumped in the truck and just started building things. And it kind of led to all the way up to like in high school, college, we were building hunt lodges out in the middle of nowhere. So like some of the most prestigious hunt lodges in the world, we built the majority of here in South Dakota.
Nice. Yeah, and obviously that's a huge industry here in South Dakota. If you go to the airport, I always joke that it's the only one that you'll see a gun running through there like every other minute.
Right.
What town did you say you grew up in?
New Holland, South Dakota. So just a small, little community. Our high school was in a cornfield, and yeah.
How big was the graduation class?
We were the bigger one, and I think we were at like 18 or 19.
Oh, wow.
students.
Real big.
And we were one of the bigger classes. I know. Well, like I say, you didn't get to choose your friends or your courses, but we all got along.
That's good. Yeah, I graduated from Lincoln High School here in Sioux Falls, and I think we were around like 450 for a graduation class, something like that.
Yeah, no, that's more than our alumni for like 20 years, 30 years there.
Yeah, it's funny. And then, of course, you think Sioux Falls is the big city, and then you start talking to people from Minneapolis and, somewhere in California, and they still think we're in teepees around here, It's cool. So small town. Where'd you go to college?
Went to SDSU. Got my BS and MS in engineering. Yeah, we're Jackrabbit fans here, and
yeah,
that's
good. So your bachelor, that's 4-year, right? How much was it for how many years for the master? Is that 6?
2. Yep, so 6 total.
Yep. Cool. Very nice. All right, and let's lead into what did you start doing after you graduated from college?
So I ended up actually working for the city of Sioux Falls, and I wasn't a big government guy, so it kind of was hit on my mood a little bit. But back in 2008-09, there weren't a lot of jobs. That's why I went and got my master's, and even coming in 11, like there just weren't a lot of job opportunities around here. And so it ended up being probably one of my favorite parts of my career.
Really?
And so that's why I'd say, if when you're younger, take a job, even if you don't think it's your right fit, you might really enjoy it. And that was, to this day, some of the funnest years of my life of what I did were right there.
You know what? Have you ever seen the show Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
That you sound like Ron. Is it Ron Swanson? I think his name. He hates government, but then he's working for the government. That's exactly what you said.
When I went there, the city didn't have a lot of building experience, and we were just starting the Denny Sanford Premier Center and a lot of other big projects. And so, understanding I had a lot of building experience, I ended up just acting like an owner for 3 years, running around and overseeing the projects. And I'd say my biggest reward for working at the city, because it wasn't the pay, was I got my name on the building plaque for the Denny. And so,
oh, really?
Yeah, and so if you ever go to an event with me, I'm always sure to stop by and show everyone my name. So,
where's it at in there?
Right when you walk in, the building plaque is kind of right to the left of the ticketing. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. That's awesome. So how old were you at that point then?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think around 24, 25, somewhere in there.
24, 25, basically, like you said, you got ownership experience like right out the gate. Is that kind of what led you into launching these different companies built your confidence there?
Right. So I knew I wanted to stay in Sioux Falls. There still were not a lot of job opportunities out there. And, if when you work for a city, what I always tell people is you have really fantastic people that do work for our government. And then you have the others that aren't so great. And, everyone tends to focus in on them. But there are truly some of the most fantastic people I've worked with in my life that work in city municipalities. And the unfortunate part about that is, when you do really good, you can't get paid really well. And so, my only option really to increase my, W-2 or my wage was to kind of go out on my own.
Yeah. So walk me through that springboard of working from them to going into your own. What were those steps like?
It was pretty brutal, and I really took the hard way around it. I quit the city before I had my licensure because I wanted time to study. So then I studied, took my PE. I ended up pairing up with a friend from school to start it. Luckily, he was licensed because after I took my PE test, which is like a professional licensure, I was scared I didn't pass. And so I called him up. I'm like, dude, I think you hit yourself to a bad horse here. I'm kind of concerned whether I passed the test or not. And it ended up all being well, and I had. But and from there on, I just started door knocking.
Yeah.
And so it was, I had a few connections from the city, different clients and stuff. But when you're young and you're new, you got to prove yourself. And so people they want to see a track history. And so,
well, what's the name of that first company?
Midwest Engineering.
Midwest, and then that's your ME, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And, on my shirt.
And yeah, that's what you do most of your work under, correct?
Yeah, we're still, over a decade later, still practicing. We do quite a bit of work, and
yeah,
it's kind of fun to see it grow. Because back in the early stages, the first year I figured somewhere in like 225 businesses I cold knocked, and the doors would say no soliciting, no this. You had to figure out what times of the day worked best and how to get through the secretary because they shut you down.
That's the first, line of defense, right?
Right. And so I had a good list of 4 to 5 things I do. And it was only certain days of the week, certain times of day. And, just giving it my all. And I started to generate enough cold lead work that we were able to get it to where it was today. But it took 3 to 5 years to get good, consistent revenue coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. So how much at the beginning then a majority of your time was just lead work rather than your actual focus on engineering work, correct?
Yeah, it was. I'd wake up and be laying in bed at like 10 in the morning with nothing to do, and go sitting there going, "This ain't good." Like, where can I go tomorrow? And so I just pick a town like Rapid City, put a list together of anyone I thought that potentially could use my services, and I just drove out and started visiting people.
Literally boots on the ground. Going door to door. That's crazy, especially to see where you got to today. If you were to do it over in today's day and age, would you still go that route or would you tweak it a little bit?
Having done multiple different startups, sure, I tweak little things here and there, but when you're a new company, like if you look, it's like a bell curve of people who are going to adopt and start using you. And, you have naysayers, the top 10% who won't hire you. They don't like something about you. They're just not going to. They don't like new companies. And then you've got their, 10% of the early stage people. And those are what you need to fuel yourself with just to get revenue to start, becoming more relevant. And, I think in that 3 to 5 year range is when you get to probably your 50% median of people that'll adopt and will hire you. And, at first I was pretty naive. I'm like, I'm an engineer. People need me, and boy was I wrong. They do need engineering, but they don't need you. They have somebody, and
there's options out there.
Yeah, so But
Hey,
yeah,
that's
I
all
mean,
right. That
it was
naivety can pay off, like, yeah, if you don't know what you don't know, and that keeps you from getting in your own mind on certain things.
right. But yeah, just this inability to give up and, forge my own path is kind of why I'm here today. And I've been told no more than I've been told yes, you know?
You can still find success with that ratio. The yeses mean more
Yeah,
than all of them knows.
yeah,
Well, very cool. Well, what's kind of on your guys' radar, this coming year, and maybe in give the 2 to 3 year outlook too.
right. Well, before we jump into that, then we did start up Deep Foundation Group, which is kind of one
Yeah,
of my
yeah,
leaders too.
absolutely.
Yeah, so about in 18, so probably 3, 4 years after we started Midwest, kind of started at, well, I had a downrange construction company where we did miscellaneous structural repair work, and turned
Uh-huh.
out I kind of missed the physical labor side and construction aspect to that. And so started up what now is Deep Foundation Group, where we do a lot of specialty piling, um, sheet pile walls, aggregate piers, structural shoring, emergency collapses, which is that's a whole hour discussion right there. And
Well,
that's
you
a
guys
fun.
got involved in last year, all that flooding happening. You guys went down to Rock Valley, Iowa, where it was bad in the emergency deal, right?
Yeah, yeah, we had probably 5 to 8 projects that resulted out of that flooding last year that we helped with, to anything from emergency sewer bypass to emergency water pumping.
Yeah.
We helped build, did the foundation for that Rock Valley emergency school that
Uh-huh.
got put up
Yeah.
quickly. We built an emergency cable bridge, which is one of the funner projects I've done, down in the city of Vermilion. They lost
Mm-hmm.
all their 4 sewer mains underneath the river, and so their sewage was, for a couple weeks before we got there, just pouring into the river. There was just no
Back,
way
but
to,
yeah.
yeah, no way to get it to the plant, and so very quickly developed a couple different options for the city. Wood bridge, a cable bridge, and then a bypass option to get the sewer to the plant. And we were
Would you
able
say
to,
that's kind of your favorite stuff, is when these kind of like the big problems, emergencies, thinking on the fly
yeah,
and coming up with and implementing that plan?
yeah, and we're great at emergency services because we're calm-headed engineers and we know how to get things done. And, that one was probably one of my top couple of favorite projects because um, within 5 days from nothing to a 185-foot cable bridge, bringing a force main across and getting their sewer plant back online for treatment. Just
Yeah.
super rewarding. Everyone was high-fiving and taking pictures, and it was just a fun project to be a part of.
Yeah, that's really cool. Um, I know there's a couple more companies, but before we get to them, I wanted to hit on, you talked about how you miss the aspect of actually being out in the field, right? And I actually hear that quite a bit from, I've worked with a lot of contractors who go and own their own businesses and everything. How were you able to successfully set up your company that you can do both, be an office guy and be out in the field?
You kind of just started taking on construction work. I couldn't list the number of times I've had a change from construction clothes into engineering clothes to get to a meeting in the woods somewhere, and just start the day off with multiple sets of clothes in the vehicle. And
Yeah.
I dump a concrete truck, get my guys working, doing the next thing, run to an engineering meeting, and work late into the night. And just kind of, I call it the Midwest Engineering employee workout program. We're gonna go be a grunt today,
Yep.
and we're going to get our sweat on. And just we kind of just created an environment that works for that. And so um, yeah, we love the construction aspect of the engineering side and just wanted to be part of it.
Yeah, very cool. All right, I think you were going to lead into after Deep Foundation Group is Black Tide Components. Was that your next
Yeah,
adventure? Hit
yep.
on that a
So
little bit for me.
black tie components is one of the bigger things we've done. It's a 61,000 square foot wood truss and wall panel manufacturing plant in Hartford, South Dakota. And so probably truly one of the hardest things I've ever tackled in my life because it was a
Yeah.
hard startup. One, we built the facility ourselves. Two, we had to start a design team, a production team, a logistical delivery team, and a sales team, all from
Yeah.
scratch. In the middle of COVID, nevertheless, with equipment delays and stuff like that. And, it was hard. It has been a hard company to get going, but we successfully have been scaling upwards, which has been fun to
Very.
watch.
You ship those all over the country, don't you?
Yeah, we literally got trusses in Alaska, California, I think Maryland, kind of all over. We've partnered with some different people that do a lot of pre-production wall panels, like
Yeah.
completely finished, and we've ended up with trusses pretty much all over the United States.
For those who aren't familiar, when you're talking about these wall panels, it's almost kind of like a system already being like someone has it all together and they just throw it almost Lego like, right?
Yeah. So we design and build our own wall panels for like an apartment building or a house going up, the wood structural component side of it. But we've also paired up with a company that completely delivers finished exteriors. And so they do a lot of like Chick Max, Starbucks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they can show
Rinse and
up
repeat type stuff.
yeah. And the whole exterior building will be up with the exterior finished in 5 days type of deal.
Yeah, rather than having custom framing come in and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very
And
cool. And I don't know all the details, but that process is pretty automated at your plant too, isn't it?
yeah, we bought as much automation as we could that made sense to run the plant. And so, I like on our roof line, engineers design it, goes to our production manager. They can batch it, send it to the saw. The saw will pick the lumber automatically, cut it,
Uh-huh.
anchor it, deliver it to different tables. The tables will move automatically with pens. Lasers will show every plate, every board, all that. And so, technically speaking, our employees should only have to grab the board once, put it in position, and that'll be the last time they touch it on a roof line.
That's very. I've seen videos. I'd love to actually see it in person live, but it's really cool. It makes you feel like you're in the future.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So
Awesome, man. Well, kind of going back to before I cut you off on your businesses and stuff, what is kind of the immediate goals and then your 2 to 3 kind of year outlook?
right, I mean, we're growing. We're going to continue to try to grow. I think everyone is in that boat, but
Yep.
really, we're just doing what we love, and that's more important to me than it's ever been. And I want to work with people that I enjoy too, and do things that are fun and cool. And really, our goal is just to kind of expand on what we've been doing and have fun doing it. You
Yeah.
know, I've, like you've known, I got sick a couple of years and pretty much got brought down to my deathbed and had to relearn to walk, relearn to do everything, had to switch from right-handed to left-handed, and just, kind of just, you really think about life at that point. And like the people I work with every day, I spend more time with them than I do my family.
Yep.
And so having a team that I enjoy and that enjoys me is really critical to me. And
For those who don't know kind of Robbie's story, we won't get into it too deep. There's some really great pieces of media out there, but during COVID, yeah, you were ventilator the whole 9 yards, right?
yeah, one of Avera's longer ventilator surviving patients. And so
Yeah.
106 days in the hospital total, 57 on event, brought the family in multiple times to say goodbye. And here I am, never
You're
thought
back playing
that.
in the dirt already. I
Yeah.
mean, if I recall right, so my little brother works for Robbie, and he was just graduating, and he was like, "Hey, do I have a job?" And meanwhile, Robbie's going through this crazy event, and then when my brother told me about this, and then I think it wasn't even how many months after you got out of the hospital, you were back on the job site.
Yeah, no, Matt was I was carrying around like an oxygen maker on my shoulder, and Matt, struggling to get upstairs, and me and Matt were going to visit jobs. So
Yeah, that is some true grit right there.
yeah. No, I got a lot of funny looks carrying that thing around, but
Yeah, not
yeah.
many people that they usually see, after a guy's been on the job site for 50 years or whatever, then he needs the oxygen tank. Not,
Right. But yeah, no, when I was in my rehab unit, which I was in inpatient rehab for like 17 days, my wife brought my computer in and she set it up, and I was still too weak to type, and I wanted to get a bid out, so I walked her through how to do it and shoved out bids from the rehab unit. So
wow, that's you better hit on your wife. She's been a huge part of your story, isn't she?
yeah, yeah, no, my wife is, yeah, she's my rock. Love her to death. I wouldn't be here literally without her. She fought for me in the hospital, really hard, and was an awesome advocate, and saw me at my worst of my worst, and still loves me
Mm.
to this day. And so, yeah, she's been a fantastic person in my life, and she helps with the businesses, helps with bookkeeping, and once in a while I need a runner. She'll go run. I've had her jump in scissors lifts with FaceTime on and go up and look at stuff with contractors before, and always willing to be part of the team. So
Well, like you hit on before, you spend more time with people that you work than your own family. So if you can figure out a way to successfully bring in family to work, I think, would you recommend that to other people as a win?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, family is, it can be difficult depending on the circumstances, but
Yeah, every
you're
situation
who,
different.
who do you want to spend time with, and that's, you got to be careful who you put around you, because they're going to dictate your mood. And at the end of the day, we just want to, going back to one of my core principles now, is I want to enjoy what I do.
That's awesome. Well, Robbie, as we're gonna kind of wrap things up, I've started doing a new segment here where I just want to hit you with a few rapid fire questions. Don't think on them too hard. Just give me a
Right,
couple quick answer and we'll move on.
let's do it.
All right, let's start. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh, probably a Journey song. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Cats, dogs, or neither?
Neither.
Neither. Oh boy. Morning person or night owl?
I am a night owl.
Night owl. Best piece of advice you ever received?
Well, that's a good one. Do what you love.
There we go. Awesome. And one last one here. What's your biggest guilty pleasure?
I like to wear Maui gems on the construction site, and I wreck them.
Yeah, I'm sure you
I
get
wreck
some.
them a couple a year, but yeah.
Yeah, turn and burn them. You get some looks too.
You always regret it when you throw them in your pocket when it gets dark out. Next thing you know, you're throwing bolts in your pocket.
Yep, yep. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Robbie. If people want to kind of learn more about you, hear, like I said, your story that you hit on, or just connect with you, where's the best places that they could do that?
Look me up. I'm everywhere on the internet. Great stories out there that my church has done, and we're happy to talk, happy to help. And that's a big thing I always tell my clients is, I'm here for you. I'm here to help. What can I do?
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Robbie, and we'll see everyone on the next one.
All right. Thank you.
Know someone with serious grit and a great growth story? Send them our way at grittogrowthpodcast.com/guest.